computer says so many things all the time. Got that little button there that says go live, and typically we are already live, so if you can see us, hello, and we just don't know anything about it yet, because that's
sounded like you just went live.
Of technology.
There you go.
It takes a long time for this to come around.
We are live.
Awesome. We are live and kicking on Wednesday night. Hello again, everybody. Glad to see you. Hey.
Right
it
here.
Is Winging It Wednesday. Oh, hell yeah, to the Cincinnati Reds, and I'm rocking a T-shirt given to me by
J-Mo.
beloved Billy.
Yes.
Billy B.
Yes.
Love that neighborhood bar.
Wonderful. We already named it, though, didn't we? I mean, the heck
yeah.
with
Oh,
it.
Yeah, but I mean, no, that's what it says.
There you go. Yeah. Whatever.
So anyway. Whatever.
Tonight, I'm just going to say, guys, we had a pre kind of talk, and we're both just kind of done with the day. So
it's Winging It Wednesday. Not that there's ever really much of a script to the show, but believe it or not, we do kind of chat and about some interesting topics, things that are important, obviously.
Yeah.
And today, this is just another day for everybody to get through. So anyway, if we haven't said it already, I'm Aaron, and
I'm Evan, and we are so glad to have you guys here tonight. Tonight, we want to kind of take a look at, maybe a lighter side, or maybe I don't know where it'll go, but we want to take a look at a lighter side of COVID, and take a look at relationships during COVID. And we're going to take a look at so many different things and aspects. And those of you guys who are beginning to jump in and beginning to watch, please, this is going to involve you. So we'd love for you to interact with us and disagree maybe with some things that we might say, or agree with us, whatever you might do. But anyway, I'd like to kick it off, if that's okay, Aaron.
Go right ahead, man.
All right. So I was reading a news article, man, and this news article was talking about COVID and the things that are happening during COVID. And my significant other actually shot me this really good article about relationships during COVID and what those are looking like, and how people are doing things. And so I wanted to kind of take an aspect and take a look at how are people doing different relationships? How are they friending? How are they dating? How are they marriaging? I don't know, whatever it's called. But anyway, how do those things look? And so I wanted to start off with just taking a look at friendships, right? One of the reasons why we're on here is because Aaron and I can't get together in a bar like we want to, right? We get together in a bar, and so we'll just sit here and we'll drink. But this article I was reading was talking about how friendships now have become very, very innovative. And part of the innovation is because of Zoom. Zoom is you're able to sit there and talk and kind of see each other, say, hey, what's up? How you doing? And take drinks. But as far as friendships go, like, Aaron, do you feel like you could reach the same depth in friendships that you can face to face over Zoom?
Well, no. I mean, it's fantastic that, it's fantastic that, Zoom exists, and other platforms. But no, you can't, you can have some great conversations. And I think in the early days of it, people were, it was definitely felt more like you were making a connection. And, I don't want to downplay it, but I definitely think that, there's something about human contact, being around people, the ability to hug your friends, hello and goodbye, and things of that nature, which, I think makes sense. We need it. We're humans. We need that kind of contact. But I also think something happens when you're in somebody's presence also, and you can, I don't know, when you're around somebody, you're experiencing things together, and there's a symbiosis that I think kind of takes place. When you're both in the bar and a cool song comes on, or, somebody new pops up, the spontaneity of life gets missed because
Mhm.
of Zoom. It's, when we schedule a call, it's great. And I have a feeling that, long term, even when we can get back out in the world, people are going to be like, hey, you know what? It's just as easy to do this with my friends living out in Colorado. We don't have to have a disease, enforcing it. I should be talking to these people, but I'm glad it exists. It gives us an opportunity to do this, and also, make contact with everybody else out there that we'd probably
Mhm.
be, who would be those people, popping into the bar. Hey, I'm coming in to get some takeout. Let's sit there and have a drink. Or hey, I'm waiting to pick my kids up. So, gonna grab some snacks, what have you. So yeah, it yeah, I think I covered it. You can't quite get
Yeah,
the
no,
same
no,
depth,
right.
it's a great thing. And I think I mentioned before the show that the funny thing is when I'm around, get to be in person with people now, wanting and talk to them, man. I damn near can't shut up. Everybody's kind of like that. It's kind of, but it's also fun. Like, I think everybody recognizes the catharsis that needs to take place for
Mhm.
everyone. So you indulge everybody's stories right now,
Mhm.
because we need it. We need that level of socializing, and it's really, really tough. So
So Gia says it's not the same depth, but you can learn that what friends you truly need and which ones you're okay with not seeing as much. For the ones you need, tech, Zoom, porch time. I totally agree with that. Um, Dave says, and not like much has happened in the past week. I know, Dave, there's a lot that's happened this past week, but we wanted to kind of focus on this because one of the things that I love about Aaron and I and our time that we get to spend together is that it's very, and I know this is going to sound weird, but it's very human. It's very spontaneous. It's very human, and it causes a connection that grows each time that we get together. Um, and we're just wondering, like with you guys, what are you guys doing right now to help foster friendship during this time? One of the things that I read, Aaron, that you said, it was interesting because it sparked a sociologist in me, and the fact that um, one of the articles I believe actually was in Esquire, which, by the way, my significant other and her daughter got me a year subscription.
I
Thank you very
I,
much.
I love Esquire. I love
Esquire
Esquire.
is just quality. Not to mention the Marissa Tomei interview. Anyway, I said that out loud. Dang, I'm going to be in trouble for
You're
that.
in trouble for that,
Anyway,
not me.
I know. It was actually saying that the friends who are further away, like you mentioned, Colorado. I actually have a cousin that lives in San Diego. I I zoomed him just out of nowhere because we were talking on Facebook. He says, "Hey, jump on a Zoom call."
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in years, and yet we're able to do this. And you're right, it's a pandemic that takes us to even think about something like this. So I think there are pluses,
Mm-hmm.
there are positives to this. I think that obviously, I get to see you, I can talk with different people, but it doesn't, I think, Simmons says Jameson and Ginger time needed with Evan and Aaron.
Mm.
Okay, yeah, see, we can do
Yep.
that. But I think what it does is that it fills the gap, it fills the void.
Mm-hmm. For
um,
sure.
Kind of like if Simmons were to fill in at catcher for Tucker Barnhart, you know he could do it. He could do it, maybe, but it's not Tucker Barnhart. I mean, we need our starting catcher. We
Okay. I
need our
wasn't sure
catcher.
where we were
Seriously,
going with that.
come on now. I'm giving Simmons props. That's what I'm doing. It's just Simmons. Simmons is an athlete. He can do whatever he wants to do. So
He's a
that's
hell
where
of
I'm
an
going
athlete.
with. Yeah, there you go. So anyway,
I find it.
online gaming. Oh, TJ, this is a great point, man. Online gaming is how I've been hanging out with my friends. It's exactly what this is. My brother and I, Aaron, we
Right
have
on.
gotten like this because we've kind of connected over gaming. And it once again, my brother and I, we've had an okay relationship, but man, we're tight. I mean, we're tight.
That's
It's not that
awesome.
we weren't before,
Right. No, I know what you mean.
you know.
But yeah,
So I mean, yeah,
it's another avenue. It's another way to connect that you otherwise would not have pursued had this not been going on. And now there's no reason to not continue
yeah.
it. I want to backtrack real quick. I thought it was funny that you were talking with a friend on Facebook and then got off Facebook to use Zoom because they have Facebook rooms now.
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
you used
I
Facebook
haven't.
rooms at all?
Yeah. I think I can't remember who I tried that with. I think I tried that before.
I
It just
opened a
it's
room
out of sight,
and
out of sight, out of mind. I just forget
right.
it's there. You know.
Well, the ad for it is constantly at the top of my feed.
Well, there you go.
So
There you go.
I don't know.
So, all right. So
Um,
friendship is one thing.
you know, on the gaming thing is interesting because I'm not a big gamer. And when I did play much, I would play basically FIFA and I would play seasons myself. I wouldn't really get online a whole lot.
Sure.
Mainly because a couple times I did get online, I got my ass handed to me like 4-0 in the first half. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I've got a connection issue. Some 12-year-old kid just whipping my ass, probably.
Yeah, there you go.
But you know, there's I haven't really gamed for several years, basically because FIFA 2015 made Manchester United so shit that it wasn't a fun game to play. I'm not bitter.
Come
Um,
on to the blue side, man. Come to the blue side.
you know
Come to
what?
the blue side.
It was funny. A buddy of mine posted about Christian Pulisic yesterday, and
Yeah.
Nick responded to it. So are we all Chelsea fans now? And I said, I have no personal disdain for Chelsea. There was, when I started following Manchester United, there was not a natural
Yeah.
rivalry between the two teams. I actually liked some of their players because they had a couple guys from the France '98 World Cup winning team in the squad. So
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed them, and they weren't a threat to us. So I could sort of watch them from afar.
Right.
Now that Christian Pulisic is there, I hope that Chelsea are always fighting for a top 4 spot, which means
Mm-hmm.
he'll be playing for a top level team. They'll be in the Champions League. He'll be getting
Yeah.
that level exposure. I believe he's already a star. I
Mm-hmm.
believe he can be a superstar, and I believe he can be world class.
If Mount and Barkley can play up to their games and support him, I think in Abraham.
Ross Barkley can't have much longer to go at Chelsea.
I know.
But
I know.
as long as Chelsea are fighting for those spots and Christian Pulisic is in amongst the goals, setting them up like he did yesterday, or
Mm-hmm.
scoring them like he did over the weekend. I mean, he makes it look pretty easy when he's on his game, and he's fun to watch. So as long as Chelsea finish behind Manchester United and we're both in the top 4, I don't care.
Okay.
Because he'll
I'll
bring
take
that back to the
I'll
U.S.
take that.
national team.
I'll take it.
And if he's playing at a high level, that's only a good thing for the U.S. national team. And we've got some guys who are playing great, especially in Germany right now. And looking forward, the youth is bright on the U.S. national team. So that was a bit of an aside there, but that's how we do here.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, man. So we've got some banter going on back and forth in the chat. Let's see, online gaming. Dave says Simmons is really missing all of the in-person ass smacking.
Well, absolutely.
Wow. Anyway,
I'm going to light him up the next time I see him.
Simmons says, "Oh no, what just happened?" And then Simmons says, "Yeah, true." Okay. So Roger says, Zoom is a collaboration tool, and like all tools, it's got its drawbacks and shortcomings, but it is a collaboration tool. I love collaborating with you, Evan, but that ain't what I'm missing most when you can't be here in person. It's the beard magic that happens when we come together, my friend. That's exactly what happens.
Man, that
beard magic.
Your beard is a sweet 80s hip hop group. It is salt and pepper. And you got Spinderella's headsets on, so you got the whole gang.
Trifecta, man.
Right?
The trifecta. Dang.
You know.
When you said 80s, I was like, oh no, what is he gonna say? Because this is all black right here, and it still looks like anyway. Well,
you salt and pepper,
right there.
bro.
There you go. Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do next is we're going to have an early halftime, because I have a feeling that when we get into the relationship piece, this is going to get kind of juicy. So, yeah.
You mean like Notorious B.I.G.?
There you go. Well, kind of like that, but oh well. So what we're going to do now is we're coming to our halftime, salt and pepper. We're coming to our halftime shot. Guys, next segment, we'll be talking about, like I said, relationships in COVID. So please be formulating your thoughts and your questions for us. We won't answer questions.
COVID cohabitation.
Ooh. Very good. Very good. So who is this shot going for this week, my friend? Or is it my turn?
I think it might be your turn because I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case,
I haven't been around for a while.
oh man,
I've
sorry.
only been in the one time, and Mary and JoJo were there, so it was good to see them in person.
So I got the chance to meet a new server, delightful young lady I met there with Dave, McKenna. McKenna,
All
nice to
righty,
meet you.
McKenna, I'll
And
meet you at some point. I'm sure of it.
absolutely, she fits right in with the staff.
Excellent.
She's awesome. She's good. So,
You know, I got to give well, go ahead and do a shot here. Sláinte.
oh, Sláinte. Simmons says, "Shot to the Reds. Shot, go Reds." There you go. What was your thought, my friend?
My thought is how good of a job they consistently do at most of their locations with the staff. I don't know who does most of the interviewing. I've seen both Jay and Rudy interview people, so maybe a collaborative affair depending on what part of the house they're working in.
Right.
But even downtown, has really had some great folks. I mean, obviously several people who ended up at Fisher's started downtown, but they clearly have an idea that, something in mind, and can elucidate that to the people working there, and they can pick out really good people. I can't think of really too many people that I would look back and go, wow, that was a miss. Some
Yeah.
people have bad days or what have you, and some people don't have the most gregarious personalities, and that's not why you're working in the first place. But
Sure.
what I'm saying, there's obviously a fun, certain mentality that they consistently manage to pick out. And that's, of course, a big reason why we go there, because it's a fun place to be.
And like I said, McKenna's very nice. She's very hospitable. She takes care of you. She fits right in. She fits right in. So
Is she a full whiter?
no, no, she's not. No, she's not.
Okay, so there's like there's another branch to the Chatham family tree.
Yeah,
I
there
guess.
you go.
All right,
Exactly.
good,
Exactly. Yeah.
good. Apparently, that's a criticism from what I hear. So yeah,
So
so
we've
relationships, Evan.
yes, yeah. Really, we've already erupted on the chat.
Okay, all right.
And
I'll switch back and
it's
get a little
great.
chat.
No, Gia says, "Whatevs. I've got 20 years worth of relationship pre-COVID." And then Roger says, "Gia, well, that's just like your opinion." Okay, so great culture attracts great talent. I agree with that, Simmons. So let's move on. In said article, as I was reading about friendship, they had a section also about relationships, and the inevitable happens, right? Where you're with somebody, and dating is different, obviously, than marriage. Marriage, it's like you're there, unless it's an agreement where it's like, okay, you get the guest house, I get the main house, which may work. But if you're dating, what I was reading is that there are pitfalls to both choosing not to quarantine together and to quarantine together. Um, I mean, I'm just going to throw it out there, Aaron, and this is not the "Hey, Aaron" part or anything like that, but list some of the pitfalls you could see in a dating relationship if two people chose to quarantine together.
Well, I kind of have a real world example. My brother had started dating a girl very, very shortly before all of this began. And I think I'd met her early on, and I think they had just begun dating. So I want to say it's sometime back in January or February. We hung out at the Alley Cat. It was fun. Couple of weeks go by, and basically we get into the whole we need to quarantine sort of thing, and my brother decided to quarantine together. He basically moved in with her, and I thought, wow, that's got to be the quickest way to destroy a new relationship with somebody, because you haven't been together long enough to know each other's mannerisms and foibles and peccadillos and the little things that can be the cute things that attract you to one another that you still don't even know about in those first couple of months.
Hmm.
But those are the types of things that can also become, oh my fucking God, if you do that again, I'm
Yeah.
absolutely going to, whatever. Um, so I thought this was gonna be terrible, but flash forward several months of all this going on, and apparently it has gone well. And we were able to have people over for Father's Day, and my brother brought his new girlfriend. She's awesome. We're things are going great as far as I can tell. So I think the pitfalls are if you try to rush into something and you don't really know somebody that well. Um, it could be very, very destructive, and then you're kind of stuck there. I mean, I guess technically you're not, as long as you still have a place to go. But I bet early on trying to find a new apartment wouldn't have been very, very easy. I bet if you went looking for a new apartment in April, that might have been difficult. I don't know.
Right.
Truthfully, I don't know. Somebody tell me. But it just seems like I think there's more risk than reward in
Hmm.
that situation. But as is being shown, it's been pretty positive. They seem to really dig each other. Now they're both 50 years old, I think. Um, she's had she's got children, so she's obviously been in long-term relationships and lived with people before. My
Sure.
brother has as well, so that probably helps a little bit, having a little bit
Hmm.
more relationship maturity. But I don't know if I was 23, that would be the smartest decision. Maybe
Man.
I don't know. Dating changed. My dating life evolved, strangely over the years. I very, very much thought I was going to be the, go to college, graduate, marry your college sweetheart, have 2.5 kids, buy the house with picket fence kind of
Hmm.
thing. And when that didn't work out, I basically abandoned that concept. So dating became a whole other type of, I don't know, pursuit, if you will. Like I had
Mm.
no desire to actually settle down. So
Yeah.
I think it would really depend on, the mindset you had going in. If you met somebody and they were awesome for, the first couple of weeks of hanging out, but it was based around, techno and sex, I'm not sure. I mean, that's fun, don't get me
Molly,
wrong,
Molly,
but
Molly, and sex.
you
There you go.
if you put yourself into a particular situation, it look, everything is a risk, of course, but I think there are a lot of difficulties that could really, really pop up. But I don't know.
This article was interesting because it compared COVID to kind of drugs. And they said it was hilarious because it was like, drugs intensifies the personality of whoever takes it. So if you're an asshole, you're going to be a super asshole, and stuff like that. And it said that, with COVID, a lot of times whenever you put two people together who aren't used to living together, they're finding all this stuff out about each other in somewhat of a microcosm. It's like, okay, it's like under a microscope at this point, like 1,000 times more than it would be if it wasn't. Because if you didn't have an outbreak or pandemic, you probably would hold on to where you're at, say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, let's give this a shot. Oh wow, didn't work out. Okay, so I can go back. The pandemic, you are quarantining, or supposed to be.
Yeah.
You're quarantining with somebody, and so you're choosing to quarantine with that person. So it was really interesting, this article. I was really fascinated by it. But then it started mentioning some good things about possibly quarantining together, and that is kind of what it seems like what your brother and his person are kind of experiencing right now. Is like, oh wow, if things like if we can get along in a quarantine where we're around each other 24/7 without me, without whoever looking at the other person said, "Oh my God, aren't the Knicks on or something? Can you please
Right.
go somewhere and watch a fucking basketball game?" Without doing that constantly, hey, look, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
This is it. This
Let's
article is
Netflix
saying
and
this
get
is
the fuck away from me.
yes, exactly, exactly. So it's saying that if this is something that you can stand, if this is something that you can work out as you go, especially if you have somebody who isn't used to having someone in their space
Hmm.
24/7, because really we're all not used to having someone in our
Right.
space 24.
Right.
We there are places even in the house where we can go, or we go to our jobs,
Yeah.
and say, okay, bye. And that was an important thing too, is just actually the act of saying goodbye,
Yeah.
just saying, I'll see you later,
Hmm.
going through that routine of the day, then coming back together. So
Well, and just, everybody needs a certain amount of together time and everybody needs a certain amount of alone time. That's different for every person, and it changes depending on your situation. I
yeah.
mean, the everybody can't wait for that first really, really warm weekend in February or March, because we've been cooped
Hmm.
up since probably late November if you get a good Indiana winter going, right?
Yep.
It's below 40 degrees. It's maybe snowy or ice out for several months. And then February just sucks ass in Indiana every year, no matter
Yeah.
what is going on. It's
Yep.
12 degrees. It's dark constantly.
Hmm.
And everybody runs out the second they can. So, the ability to be able to just for a little bit have some alone time is probably difficult. But, I think people have probably created, this is why a lot of people were baking bread early on and stuff like that. Like I need a way to occupy my time,
Hmm.
because I don't have the minutia of day-to-day life that I would normally be doing. The running, stopping at the store on your way home from work. You don't think
Right.
anything about it. It's not a big deal, but that's a half hour out of your day where you're doing something, whether you're just like supremely conscious of it or not, right? You're like, okay, I gotta go to the store. I need to get milk and eggs and bread and blah 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 blah.
Yep.
And it's an opportunity to kind of zone out in some ways, or walk through and listen to some music and drown out the customers, what have you. So not doing those little things, those are kind of the things that we are missing a little bit, you
Hmm.
know, um, and going shopping together is a way. There's all these, I hesitate to say distractions, but there are all these things that we do on a regular basis that are just part of life that now take on a more symbolic meaning, um,
Yeah.
to be able to do it, whether that's shared or not.
I I think it's interesting too, looking at relationships and the depth in which you can reach, if you utilize this time correctly. I think that if you are able to manage the time together well, to um, I don't know, to honor each other's space, as you say.
Yeah.
If you can honor each other's space, I think that says a lot for your relationship. It
Mm.
says, number one, about your security in it, because you're not having to be up underneath somebody all the time, like, oh my God, which obviously I think most of the people who are quarantined with someone by now are like, oh my God, I was that way, but I'm not that way anymore. I don't know, I don't know if there'll be a huge drop in codependence, because of this, but well, that remains to be seen. But I think it draws a line right there in the sand to say, I respect you enough that, I understand your need to just be able to separate and come back together.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool. Simmons, um, first of all, Gia back a little while ago, was responding to Roger saying, that it's just her opinion. She says the hate, and
Hmm.
Roger says that's the secret. It's like that tension. I love that. Simmons says during COVID I picked up a bourbon habit,
Hmm.
and Gia is saying I'm not really missing those types of things. Hashtag hermit introvert. Hashtag introvert.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
it's nice.
it's been a blessing probably for some people. I certainly learned quickly how okay I was being home, and that I do have a lot of things that I can occupy myself with. And I probably before all of this would have been like, nah, I've these things that I got to do about being out. And while I do miss them, they're not the day-to-day necessity
Hmm.
that they'd become habits. Um,
Yeah.
so
Gia's saying that, her and Roger are weirdos. They're becoming more codependent. Um, I would say interdependent, my friend.
hmm,
Interdependent. You and Roger are interdependent. Last thing I want to talk about, man, and it is kind of a serious note as far as relationships go during COVID. Um, you know, Quarantine fatigue is for real, right?
yeah,
I mean, it's real. Um, But as we see what's happening in our country, in our state today, we had 700 new cases in Indiana alone. Um, as we see what's happening, as people, as we're opening up, as we're starting to, not starting to, we're planning on bringing children together. We're planning on, doing so many different things that are going against, in my opinion, going against science, going against,
Well,
what healthcare professionals are saying. How big, how big of a role are how big of a role is solidifying our relationships that we have going to what role is that going to play in the next coming weeks and months as far as helping us if something were to happen and we were to go back to level 1 or phase 1 again? How big of a role are these relationships that we're forming in a different way than we have ever formed before, because we're forming them during quarantine? How big of a role are they going to play if we hunker back down again?
I think any relationships that are forged through, intense, historic time periods are definitely going to bring out a lot more in people. I can only speak for myself. I think people who are already together are either solidifying, the things that have made them a good team,
Hmm.
or possibly, reinforcing notions that, maybe this wasn't correct. So it will, it's it's kind of like the process of, turning coal into diamonds. In the pressure,
Mm.
uh you know some things, get crushed and they just are a rock, and other things turn into diamonds, and it's the exact same pressure, and it's just how the materials involved interact. So
Um, do you think that this is going to cause us? Because one of my biggest pet peeves about this whole COVID thing is it is bringing out the worst of us, the best of
mhm,
us, and the worst of us as
mhm,
Americans. And I think one of the worst things that this thing has brought out, man, is the fact that we are so hung up on individual liberties. We're so hung up on personal liberties as opposed to being sociologically minded, being social minded as a country, as a nation. Like, it's almost like as, there are certain people in this nation, and unfortunately I'm seeing more and more of them, who just don't give a shit about anything else except for their personal civil liberties, and they're not recognizing the fact of how connected we all are,
mhm,
how one person does something and it affects so many different other people. If anything, COVID shows us that,
mhm.
but yet we still have people who are like, fuck it, I'm not wearing a mask because I don't have to. Well,
Right.
okay, I get it, but you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I
It's
don't
frustrating.
understand. Yeah, it's so frustrating because we can do so much better,
Mhm.
and I just don't understand. I don't know, Aaron. I don't know. Maybe you can give
it's
some insight.
it's a reflection on who we are as a society. I mean, look to, many Asian countries, and and you can look at their politics and see the differences among them, and still see what the people themselves do to let you know how much community means to them. Because I can't remember a time when I wouldn't see a picture of people on the street in Beijing or Hong Kong or Tokyo, and there weren't a smattering of masks.
Hmm.
And that's because those are people who either are already sick and don't want that to spread, or are immunocompromised and are trying to help out their own system as well. And it that says we recognize our role in the collective society.
Yes.
And there are varying degrees of individual freedoms. I mean, we just mentioned China, which obviously has issues. Hong Kong, up until recently, is a westernized Asian culture. And well, I take that back, not westernized, but it was a democratic society, and they had British
very
citizens.
Western leaning.
Yes.
There you
And
go.
then Tokyo, Japan, which is, as it is the most amazing amalgam of a modern day society mixed with its classical traditional values and culture, and yet people are on the street wearing a mask. They believe deeply in the role the individual plays as part of the collective.
Mm-hmm.
And I here, our society was founded on freedom and individuality and being able to do what you wanted. And you're not going to find a bigger proponent of individual freedoms than me. I believe in them wholeheartedly, but I also believe that comes with the responsibility of recognizing you're part of a larger culture, and that's the social compact that we've all agreed to. And I mean, there's nothing in the thing to me is there are times when we're 50 states individually, and there are times that we're a nation as one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Florida didn't just send troops to World War II. The United States sent troops to World War II. Many were from Florida. They were from all over.
Yeah.
Right. And you say God bless the USA and all those things. So people recognize they're part of this larger thing. But ironically, the people who speak the loudest about that level of nationalism and patriotism also think they have no responsibility to one another.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because I had this conversation with my spouse the other day, and you can pretty much, I would bet that you could do this with 95% certainty. But if somebody said to you, I don't believe in wearing a mask, I think it's wrong. Or if somebody was like, I wear my mask all the time, I think it's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know who those people are going to vote for.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody says to you, climate change is a hoax, or if somebody's like, yo, climate change is the biggest existential threat to people on this planet, you would know with about 95% certainty who those people vote for. And I don't like that. Mm-hmm. I like it when we're diverse and have good opinions, but some shit is so ingrained now in these manifested ideologies, these creations, and it harms us. You can for some reason they speak very loudly about America and what America can do, but they don't seem to have they don't believe that they have a responsibility to the country with their behavior.
Please don't get me wrong. I'm with you. I think individual liberties, there's a place for them, right? There's a place for them. I'm just saying, I think that there are systematic problems, and then there are technical problems, right? Technical problems, hey, my toilet's overflowing. I'm not going to call a committee meeting together to figure out why that's happening. Yeah, I'm not. Right. I'm not going to say, "Hey, Aaron, I just want to call you. My toilet's overflowing. What should I do about that?" No, I'm going to call a plumber who knows. That's what you do with technical problems, right? Technical problems, you have a specialist. You got it taken care of. It's a very clear, concise solution. This systematic stuff that we're dealing with, that we look at America, and we look at what we've been talking about, as far as individual liberties and societal responsibility. Let's look at the right to bear arms. We look at that as very much an individual right. This is my right to bear arms. When in all actuality, why was that put in to the Bill of Rights? Because it was put in there to defend not just you, but others, to take up arms and defend against a tyrannical king-like figure who may take over. That's why it's there. It's not there for individual liberty. It's there for a collective. It's there for a societal defense against a person who is wanting to take over the United States. That's what it's there. Now, I'm not saying all of them are like that, but we tend to look at all of those things in such a narrow way that we forget that a lot of the things that were written in the Constitution are societal issues, very much so. Freedom of the press, freedom of speech.
I would say this. I think the Second Amendment can be interpreted as being both individual and uh, communal, because yes, the way it's written, it says I have a weapon, and if needed in defense of tyranny, I will be I will muster for the militia. Okay, that's fine. But as an individual who has that weapon, I don't have much issue with castle doctrine. If someone breaks into my home and I have a weapon, I have every right to use it for self-defense. That and for me, that's the extent of it. Hunting is a whole other issue and a totally different conversation and in a totally different moral topic as well.
Right.
And I'm not opposed to it, but I think anyway. But yes, I get the point of what you're stating, though, is you're implicitly saying that I have a right to this weapon, but in doing so, I could theoretically be called to the defense of this nation. And I don't think that crosses most people's mind, though.
No,
really.
no.
I think most people go get a gun because they want a gun.
I think that's a no-brainer, right? I mean, I think that's one of those things where I think when it was written, they were like, well, duh, yeah. And so it was written, in my opinion, it was written in the sense of a collective. It was written in the sense of a community-minded thing. That yes, if there comes a time where you need to come together, you need to come together. And I think that was the spirit in which it was written. But we tend to, as Americans, we tend to just focus, I think, way too much on the individual. It's not the individual's civil liberties and the community mindedness, or sociologically minded people. They're not at odds with each other. They both play into it. But I think we give one way too much weight, and we've forgotten about the other. We've forgotten about it.
Well, everyone conveniently forgets, the commas in the Second Amendment and why they're there. And I don't know. It's very difficult for me to believe that it was written with anything other than the intent of protection. And the notion that individuals would have an entire arsenal of weapons, a compound. I just, it wasn't what people did during their time period. And I don't think they could have had any type of foresight to the type of weaponry that is readily available now. Sure. And I think if they did, it would have had a little bit more around it. Let's face it; these guys argued every word. They had week-long delays over a paragraph, right?
Sure, I'm sure they did.
So to ignore the wording and syntax, punctuation within the statement is to say I don't actually believe in the nobility of the founders. That's not what they were thinking. I'm just going to ignore that section. We don't do that with any other one,
right?
And there are already limitations. We know there are limitations on every right. There's no absolute right. None of them. They all have but at the end of them, and you can name damn near every one of them.
So it's interesting because Gia says, she said, all historic change to societies came during pandemics and financial crisis. So I think it's going to change the younger generations and what they value, who walk out of this. Then she's talking about the Second Amendment, how we got off on that. Boy, we went down a rabbit hole. That's awesome. Said, except that's an illusion. It's built on freedom for a select type of man. Totally agree with that. So in truth, we're currently acting like we have always behaved. Roger says, read the whole damn bill, please. It also
Yeah.
says that a reason for promoting militias is that standing armies in time of peace. Yes, I get it. And I'm going to come back to that other
Yeah, you got one you better
statement.
respond to.
Yeah. Gia says, okay, but even those rights were only for a select kind of man. Blacks lined up to enlist and fight. Yes. I don't want to lose the reason why I brought that up is because in talking about relationships, so Michelle, we're not done talking about relationships. So sorry that we went down that rabbit hole. I say all that to say this, in talking about relationships, as you look at us as a country, we forget that the connectedness that we have as individuals in a society, the connectedness that we have plays a role. It forms a relationship. It forms kind of like a grid in which to operate America. And the problem is that if we take each of us out and say, nope, I'm myself, I'm my own, it's all about me, I'm going to look after me, myself, and I. The problem is that we lose that little bit of richness in the relationship that we have as citizens of the United States. We lose that. And so in a relationship as well, you can look at it in many different parts and many different moving parts, as a matter of fact. If you choose to disengage, if you choose to withhold information, if you choose to lie, if you choose to, ignore another person, your other person's feelings or their needs or their wants, this is along the same line, is that we are choosing to weaken that relationship. And I feel like our relationship as Americans is it one of the times where it's the most weakest? Like,
Agree.
We don't hold the same, it doesn't hold the same weight anymore.
Well,
And it's because we've forgotten about relationship.
To that point, I think one of the most magnanimous things you could do right now would be, if you're a person who thinks this is a hoax, doesn't believe it, wear a mask. And you can write on your mask, I think this is a hoax, but I still care enough about you as people to do whatever this is that you want me to do, because it makes people collectively feel better. And for the rest of us, it does. I don't like seeing people without it. Not necessarily for my own health. I just don't want other people to get sick. I don't want to get sick, but I want other people to get sick. And there's a weird Schadenfreude going on. I can't help it. But these people who are, 1 week they're like, this is all bullshit and I'm not wearing a mask and da 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 da. And like the next week they're like, my son has it and is in the intensive care unit. Please, everybody wear a mask. I'm like, I hate that your kid got sick, but if you have to get kicked in the balls to know it hurts, then
right. So
then I might line up to kick you. I'm just saying.
Yeah, there you go. So
don't be surprised when somebody takes you up on it, I guess is what I'm saying.
There you go. That's a great segue into our final segment of the night.
Kick him in the balls.
Aaron. There you kicking the balls. I have no idea how I'm going to segue that. Perfect.
Ball.
Because Aaron, nope. Because you are going to have to choose between celebrities that I give you of who you would like to quarantine with most. So I'm just saying, after a long time together, maybe they'd want to kick you in the balls, or you might want to kick them in the balls.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Let's have
it. All right. Here we go. Who would you prefer as a quarantine companion? John Legend or Chrissy Teigen?
Oh man, that is tough. Because one, that might be the most fun celebrity couple on the planet right now. They are having a blast.
Yep.
And her Twitter account is fire. And by the way, don't piss off John Legend. I know he looks soft and cuddly, but man, that dude will come for you. That's a tough one because, man, having that dude around to just be like, chit chat, and then he'd be like, "Hey, I'm gonna bust out some songs on the piano now." I'd be like, "That's pretty fucking cool."
Like, okay.
Um,
Yeah.
but Chrissy's funny. Like for a woman who is just mind-bogglingly stunning, attractive human being,
Mm-hmm.
but quick-witted, funny, sharp, intelligent. With her full responses and her Twitter account again is fire. Man,
It's a tough one.
I'm gonna go with John Legend. I'm gonna go with John
Okay.
Legend there. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Ariana Grande or Selena Gomez? I know it's weird and creepy, but it's on the list. That's all I'm
Well,
saying.
it's all good. Ariana, she seems just fun. She seems like she's just got a, not that Selena is bad or anything like that, but she's got that Bieberness all over. Nobody needs that.
Okay. So I have a trifecta here for you.
Okay.
A three-part question. Which of these actors would you like to quarantine with? Tom Hanks, Timothy Chalamet, or Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson?
Oh man. See, I'd ordinarily say Tom Hanks, but the dude had COVID, so maybe if he's still shedding shit, I'm gonna get sick. So I'm not sure I want to do that. I had no idea who Timothy Chalamet was, and then we watched the most recent version of Little Women, and he is appropriately good and douchey in it, like the way that the character, like I mean, kind of the way
Yes.
he embodies the character very
Yeah,
well.
okay,
And
I got
he's
you.
a good
I got you.
young actor from whatever. But I got to go with Dwayne the Rock Johnson
Gotcha.
for a couple reasons. First off, dude is funny as shit. If you ever seen him
Mm-hmm.
hanging out with Kevin Hart, those
Oh
guys
man.
are funny. And two, if we're under quarantine, this dude's going to be bringing me all that, whatever his tequila company is, and we're just going to be sitting around drinking margaritas, and he'll probably make me get in shape. He'll be like, Aaron, that's too many margaritas. It's time to go hit the iron, and then we'll come back and drink more margaritas. I'm
There you
like,
go.
okay, sir, you are 3 times my size. I will do whatever you say.
That's awesome. Okay, going back to, okay, here we go. Beyonce or Jay-Z?
Side note, real quick. Have you listened to Black Parade yet?
No.
When we're done,
Okay.
Go to wherever your best speaker in the house is, or maybe keep the headphones on if
Okay.
they're good.
Yep.
And play Black Parade by Beyonce. It's some fierce ass shit. It is some straight up fist in the air black power shit, man.
Okay.
It is awesome. I've been listening to it on nonstop. I came downstairs and asked Alexa a question the other day, and she like basically yelled at me, and it was because the night before we'd been cranking Black Parade in the kitchen all night long. So it's fire,
Yes. Okay. Got you.
Jay-Z, straight up.
Wow.
I'm
Okay.
gonna hang out with Jay-Z, man.
Okay. Okay.
I
No worries.
love the Beehive, but man, I'm gonna hang out with Jay-Z if I get the
I got you.
chance.
I got you. All right. Another trifecta. Zendaya, Meryl Streep, or Halle Berry?
Oh man, what a weird,
Right?
what a weird grouping.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with Halle because I think we're not that far apart in age, so I think I have the most in common to like actually be able to like have a conversation. Because after a while, I'm just gonna be asking Meryl Streep like which was her favorite movie to be in, and that kind of shit. And
She's
Zendaya,
gonna
I'm just
get
gonna be
tired of
like,
it.
so do you really have that many cool drug dealers, and can you get that shit? But have you watched that? Did you watch any of Euphoria?
No, I did not.
Don't, because
No,
you
no.
have a high school age daughter and you don't want to see what's going on in this shit, man.
Oh no.
It is it is it's incredibly well done and will scare the living shit out of every parent on the
Oh
planet.
no. Okay,
Yeah.
I got two more.
All
Two
right.
more. Oh, I'm gonna save this one to the end, man. Gotta save
Good.
that. Yeah. Ryan Reynolds, Harry Styles, or The Weeknd?
Ryan Reynolds. That guy is so funny. He's and smart. He'd probably get annoying after a while, but Harry Styles would just constantly be changing clothes and be like, look what I got. I have this new outfit on. I'd be like, yes, that's cool, Harry, but I don't know
Like, and
why
you
you've
look
got
great
on.
in it, Harry. You
Why do
look
you have
great.
on
You
bell
look great.
bottoms and a halter top? It's not cool.
And he
And
still looks cool though. He still
the
would
more
look cool.
the more I think about this, though,
Yeah. Oh no.
I just realized I might want to
The
hang out with the
weekend?
Weekend.
The weekend? Okay.
Here's the
Okay.
problem: is I feel like if the Weekend and I hang out for any period of time, it's gonna end poorly. Like I like
In jail. There you
in jail, hospital,
be like,
something. I mean, it's gonna
but
be
my
like
man.
if hey, so I really like your songs. How true? Show me. Let's get after it.
Last one, probably the most controversial given this past week's
If you say
revelation.
baby Hitler, I'm gonna be pissed.
No, no. Will Smith or Jada Pinkett Smith?
Again, quick aside, this is one of those situations that have probably been going on in Hollywood celebrity couples since forever, and not just Hollywood couples. This is shit that ordinary people go through in their lives, and the only reason we know about it is because the media swirls around them. Look, there've been rumors of Will and Jada both being bisexual and going
Yeah.
out and hanging out in clubs, and they each get their own little VIP spot across the room from each other, and they like wave to each other while they're making out with supermodels and popping bottles and all that shit. So, look, if that's how they want their life to go, you know, who gives a shit? And I mean, I feel bad for this. What August? What's his face? Dude is. I
Yeah.
mean, I, look, if Jada Pinkett hits you up in a club and she's like, Will and I are on a break, and it's all good right now. Like,
No,
it's fucking.
no, absolutely, I would not do that. No, I would not. Wait, is someone who's watching? No, I would not do that. Absolutely not. No.
Dude, that's hall pass shit right there.
This
Seriously, I'm sorry.
I,
I'm
I
just
love
gonna,
this part
you
of the
know what?
show.
We're just gonna
I
get
love it.
ourselves in more and more
We're
trouble.
just
But
digging,
you asked the
digging.
question. I would hang out with Will Smith because, uh,
Okay.
dude, again, is funny, interesting, entertaining. I think we're not too far apart in age. I don't think me and Jada are, but I've never really dug her work anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. But every day we'll be like, hey, let's come up with a new dance. Let's like do TikTok.
Oh no,
We'll be like, we're gonna dance together. We're gonna shoot hoops in the front yard and all this shit, like
you're like,
everything.
you got to hear my summertime, man. I got it. I got every word, dude. I got
I
this.
know,
You know,
right?
just it's like I got it.
Dude, is
So
Jeff coming though? Because seriously, we can't have Jeff just
gotta have
sleeping on the
Jazzy.
couch.
Gotta have Jazzy, man. We gotta have Jazzy
Jeff sleeping on the couch, man. I'm sorry.
there. Awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for interacting. We got,
Oh God.
Roger said, Misha Collins or Jensen Jensen Ackles, but you both have to hang out with Jared Padalecki. I have no idea who that
I don't
is.
know.
Am I that just out of I'm sorry, Roger.
I'm gonna
I'm
have to.
sorry. After how 50 did him, I feel like I should chill with Will. Okay, yeah, help him with help
What
him with
what
his
what
feelings.
what 50 dude to Will?
I'm not sure.
I'm not
I'm
up
so out of
on
it.
as much celebrity gossip as I should be.
Roger, you are now our celebrity gossip like analyst.
He's bringing
That's
the
what you're
hot
gonna be.
goss,
He's gonna
as
bring.
Jesus
He's
and
gonna
Miro
spill
say.
the tea. Spill the tea, man.
Spill it.
Got to spill the tea. Spill the tea. We got a whatever from Michelle. I'm not sure what that's all about,
You
but
know what
I'm
it's
sure
about.
it
You're
is.
about to get a phone call. Aaron gets you in trouble again.
Simmons. Let's move on. Simmons says, "Yeah, that's hall passed." Okay. Um, Roger's like, but that ain't even how it went down. Oh my God, you guys had so much fun tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Aaron, what do you got for us? Send us out tonight, man?
you know, I gotta be honest. Last few days have been tough for me. It's been kind of down, depressed, um, and this is fun. This gives me something to look forward to. And I love talking with you, and I love interacting with that. I love that people tune in and we give them an half hour long distraction, and they get to say some silly shit to some people on a small box on their computer or TV or
Yeah.
whatever. So this gave me a nice little lift. Keep your head up, everybody. We do have a long road ahead of us.
Mm-hmm.
This shit ain't going away anytime soon, and
No.
it's getting worse in some places. So hug your loved ones tight, wear your masks, and raise a glass. Take care,
Love you,
everybody.
buddy.
Love you.
See you guys.